Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 8 of What if Deku date Momo Yaoyorozu? If you notice some errors or some missing parts in the video, please tell me in the comment down below. Hope you'll enjoy the video. You big buffoon. You could have killed them. Izuku found it oddly satisfying to not be the one on the receiving end of Recovery Girl's wrath. Izuku had just woken up in the nurse's office, his leg wrapped up, a patched-up nose, and a pillow under his back. His poor mentor was being tended to and patched up while being berated all at the same time. Recovery Girl had set Izuku and All Might up at the back of the room with a curtain surrounding their beds so Toshinori could revert back to his regular state, which he desperately needed to do. It was good that Momo and Katsuki were still knocked out because the moment Toshinori had walked into the nurse's office his steam was filling up the room. As soon as Chiyo had closed the curtain around the Izuku in his little area, he popped back into his skeletal state coughing up a storm. I'll tell you what, young Midoriya. You and your teammates can really pack a punch. Toshinori barely wheezed out. Recovery Girl handed him a handkerchief to cough into and keep the blood contained. Stop moving, Toshinori. I've already bandaged your cuts, I just need to check your stomach. I saw those cannonballs hit you. Chiyo lifted up the upper half of All Might's costume and examined his scars. You're lucky that your skin is as thick as your skull. Nothing really changed, but you should ice it for a while. Good. I've taken hits much harder than that to this damn wound. I'm just lucky it won't affect my dinner plans. Izuku was still a bit hazy, but he could make out their conversation. Wait. Mom seemed really happy today. And she said that she was going to be out of the house tonight. Izuku shifted his head towards his mentor. You liar. What do you mean? You're going out tonight with my mom, aren't you? What? Of course not. Yes. Recovery Girl heard this and decided that it was something that was between these two. She left to go retrieve Toshinori's ice pack. Izuku weakly chuckled. You don't have to hide it. I was okay with it, remember? I know. And technically didn't lie. At the time when you asked I really wasn't seeing her. You still could have said you liked her. Toshinori stood up and dragged his chair over to Izuku's bedside and sat down. Yeah, maybe. Hey, how about this? I feel bad for the damage I caused you today and for not telling you about your mother and I. I was invited to Island for a special expo the weekend before your summer camp and I was told I could bring a +1. How about you come with? Toshinori watched as Izuku's eyes went white and cartoonishly shiny. The island? The top quirk research facility on the planet Island? I'll take that as a yes. Izuku dumbly nodded. Good. I'll pick you up at 10 a.m. next Saturday. Pack about 2 to 3 days worth of clothes. I'm very proud of your performance today, by the way. I can't believe you actually managed to get young Bakugo to work with you. Well, he's just going to go back to the way he was before. Probably. But he'll remember this. It'll stick with him, and maybe this means he's getting better. Izuku furrowed his brow. He thought back to what he said to Bakugo back in that alley. About how he still wanted him around and why he doesn't tell anyone about their past. Izuku wasn't sure if it was the right thing to do. He hated that Bakugo wouldn't have consequences to his actions. Bullying can affect someone far beyond bruises and scrapes. Izuku knew that more than anyone. There were just some things that he thought even Momo wouldn't about him. At least not yet. Bakugo especially wouldn't understand. Izuku knew heroes shouldn't hold grudges, but having someone get off scot-free still wasn't acceptable. Izuku sighed, maybe someday. Maybe someday he'll understand what he did was wrong. Maybe he'll understand what his actions can cause. But until then, I guess I'll take what I can get. The green-haired boy turned back to All Might. How's Momo? Is she okay? Izuku said, trying to get up. Whoa there, she's fine. Recovery Girl just needs to use her quirk on her when she wakes up, Toshinori said, easing Izuku back down. Speaking of which, during her and I's little scuffle said something that I think you'll be happy to hear. What? She said that she finally realized what she should have been doing for a long time. I think that means she's found a solution to her confidence problem. At least she's started the process. Toshinori wanted so badly to tell his young successor what he heard Momo say. But he felt it wasn't his place to say. This was something that the two teens should figure out for themselves. He was just happy that whenever Izuku did confess like he promised he would, that it would turn out all right. Oh. That's great. Izuku was happy that Momo had made another step closer to realizing how amazing she was. The curtain swished open to reveal Recovery Girl with her ice pack. "Ah, it seems you're fully awake now. Give me a second, dear." She walked over to All Might and handed him his ice, to which he immediately pressed to his wound and relaxed. Chiyo then walked over to Midoriya and kissed his forehead. "Okay, how are you feeling now?" "Tired, but okay. Do you think I can get up now?" "If you really want to." She helped Izuku get out of bed and take off his bandages. She handed him some gummies and his regular clothes. "You can rest up here for a while longer if you think you need it." "Thank you. I think I'll sit out there for a bit." All Might stopped him. "One more thing, young Midoriya. Let's keep the fact that you are my +1 to the expo under wraps. You know, favoritism and all." "I understand. Thank you both so much." Izuku bowed and walked through the curtains. Chiyo turned back to All Might. "So, the boy's mother, eh? It wasn't planned. It just happened." Recovery Girl just chuckled. "Well, good. It's about time you found someone who makes you happy. And a woman to put your head back on, right, of course. Who knew that this little family would have such an impact on you?" "Heh. I don't know, but..." All Might peeked through the curtains to see Izuku pull up a chair and sit down directly next to Yaoyorozu's bed while she slept. He put his head down and just watched her. "I get the feeling that life is going to change even more pretty soon." Momo slowly opened her eyes to see a white ceiling and feel a dull pain on her right side. She felt a dip on the left side of her bed and looked down to it. Her hair was out of its ponytail, splayed across her pillow. Izuku was asleep with his head on the bed next to her arm. "I've fallen for Izuku Midoriya." She remembered her words and smiled to herself. For the first time since the sports festival, she felt light. As if Uraraka had used her quirk on her and sent her up. It was a good feeling. Momo warmly smiled and lifted her hand. She put it down onto Izuku's green and black tufts and slowly moved her hand through them. She liked his hair. It was just as soft as she imagined. The fact that I have imagined how soft his hair was before should have been a clear indicator of how I felt. She inwardly chuckled to herself. She nearly had a heart attack whenever Izuku leaned into her touch in his sleep. "I'm going to fucking throw up if you keep doing that in front of me." Momo turned her head to the bed beside hers to see Bakugo sitting up in his bed. Momo made earplugs and put them in Izuku's ears. "No one said you had to watch Bakugo." Bakugo side-eyed her, examining her. "He said you found out by accident." "The fuck did that mean?" "Yubi." A boy named Nades Yubi recognized Izuku in a bookstore we were at. He talked about Izuku not having a quirk and he acted almost afraid of him. He was even trying to apologize. With some of Izuku's habits and how you treat him, it wasn't that hard to connect the dots. "Never heard of a Yubi. He had a finger quirk." "Oh. That dumbus. Whatever. I couldn't give less of a shit what you think of me. You just need to realize that none of this is your business." "What? Trying to cover your tracks? Afraid others will find out?" Katsuki grunted. "Deku already said he swore you to secrecy. I know you're not going to talk. Just go back to ignoring me. Having to help that idiot gave me a headache." Momo squinted her eyes at Bakugo. "Why did you help?" "It certainly wasn't for me." "Did Izuku say something to you?" "It doesn't matter. Our business is none of yours." Momo turned on her right side to face Bakugo. "As his best friend, it is my business. Do you even realize what you've done to him? How that can affect people? I don't give a shit that you're his girlfriend. It's still none of your damn business. That idiot is fine. He's here now, isn't he? He's got a quirk now. He never should have gotten in my fucking way. If he had just listened and realized that a quirkless runt like him couldn't be a hero, I wouldn't have had to do shit. But he just fucking kept going and going. He kept getting back up. First of all, I'm not his girlfriend, oh bullshit. And secondly, all he did was copy you. He looked up to you of all people. You never gave up, so he didn't either. He wanted to be like his best friend, but his so-called friend became his bully." Bakugo shot out of his bed and stomped over to Momo, nearly nose to nose with her. He was glaring straight into her eyes with sparks popping from his fingers. "I fucking no. He told me. It's not my problem he admired me. All I did was try and teach him a lesson before he got killed. But he kept pissing me off. I don't care. If you don't care, then why were you trying to use your sick idea of help to stop him from becoming a hero? If you don't care, why did you not want him to get hurt? If you don't care, then why did you help him during the exam? I'm assuming he told you all of this when you disappeared. If so, then why?" Bakugo grunted and looked away. He was rubbing the scar on his hand. The one that looked like Izuku. The one Izuku gave him. I believe you didn't care and that you hate him. But whatever he said to you in that alley must have done something. If it didn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You could have just ignored us. I don't like you. I don't like you at all. But Izuku still cares for reasons I'll never understand. He'll never have full peace of mind if he doesn't at least try to connect with you again. If it didn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You could have just ignored us. I don't like you. I don't like you at all. But Izuku still cares for reasons I'll never understand. He'll never have full peace of mind if he doesn't at least try to connect with you again. Momo didn't want anything to do with him, but Izuku did. She already wanted him to be happy, and now that she finally admitted her feelings towards him, that want has increased tenfold. If finding a way to help Izuku get through to Bakugo was what Izuku wanted, then she had to at least make an attempt. She still wouldn't let Izuku take any more crap from Bakugo, but something was off him. Whatever Izuku had said to him, he took in every word. Momo heard rustling from her side. The two looked to see Izuku waking up from all the movements Momo was making on the bed. He felt around his ears and pulled out the plugs. What's going on? Katsuki walked over to his bed and grabbed his school uniform off the edge of it. He stomped to the door and turned around. Fucking listen, Deku. Nothing that happened today changes anything. I still hate you, and I'm still going to best you. Katsuki grabbed onto the door handle and yanked it open. But sorry about what I said about your mom. This is not an apology to you. It's for Auntie Inko. I got nothing against her. Now fuck off, the both of you. He walked through the door and slammed it shut. Izuku sat there in bewilderment. Baby steps, Izuku. Baby steps. He looked over to Momo. What were you guys talking about? I asked about what made him help you during the exam. I think I pushed too much. I accused him of actually caring about you. Maybe I was wrong. Izuku laughed. Yeah, that'll do it. But an apology, even if not directed towards me, is still something. I'm not expecting a civil conversation anytime soon though. Sorry, Izuku. Yeah. Never mind that. All Might told me about what you said during your fight with him. Momo's heart immediately skyrocketed. He told you? Yeah. He said that you said you finally realized something you should have for a long time. Momo relaxed. He didn't know. She wasn't ready for that. She still felt like Izuku wouldn't feel the same. He was so focused on being a hero. It was his dream that he fought a tooth and nail for. A dream that the whole world tried to make him forget. She couldn't distract him with her feelings. Even if he didn't share them, he would try to help her, because that's who he is. I realized I should really be listening to you and other people when they compliment me. How could I not believe people who care so much about me like you? Izuku blushed and looked down. Momo smiled, leaned over, and hugged him tightly. Momo. Your ribs. Yaoyorozu put her head in the crook of Izuku's neck and wrapped her arms tighter around him. I don't care, she sighed. Izuku sat frozen and stiff. The fact that he liked her so much made this hug so much more scary. I'm being hugged by my crush. I'll take it. Izuku put his arms around her and hugged back. His face in a waterfall of onyx hair. Izuku? Yeah? All Might punches really hard. Yeah. But at least we passed. And I think we have it pretty easy for a while. Literally only one day later. Kiyashi Ward Shopping Mall. The class immediately sprang off into groups of their own, leaving Izuku by himself. He thought he might at least have Uraraka, but she went off with Jiro. Izuku felt a tap on his shoulder and turned around to see Momo. I guess it's just you and me, Izuku. Yeah. I guess so. The two went on their way to explore what the mall had to offer. Izuku found more weights and other workout gear, and Yaoyorozu found an entire organ piano. Izuku decided not to ask exactly where she found it. They went through the food court, chatted for a while, and were having a good time. Until at one point, Momo stopped in front of a store and turned to Izuku. Izuku? Would you mind waiting outside for me while I'm in here? Oh. Okay, but why? It's just that. This is a women's clothing store. Yeah. And, Izuku. It sells specific women's clothing. Like ones that go under other items of clothing. Momo said, shuffling her feet. Oh. Yeah, I'll just go and wait over by the fountain. Izuku stiffly walked over to the fountain and sat down. Don't imagine her wearing them. Don't imagine her wearing them. Don't imagine her wearing them. Whoa. You're the kid who won the sports festival. I'm a big fan. Izuku looked up to see a man in a black hoodie walked up to him and sit down to his right. He was way too close for Izuku's comfort. Especially when the stranger wrapped his arm around Izuku's shoulder. Yeah that's, Izuku couldn't continue because the stranger suddenly put a hand around his throat with one finger lifted. It's been quite a while since we last saw each other, Midoriya. That voice. Izuku slowly turned his head to look into the cold eyes of Shigaraki. Make a move, and I put down my last finger. Your final screams will be nothing but hoarse, raspy chokes as your throat disintegrates. You wouldn't want your girlfriend to find you like that. We're just old buddies catching up. Izuku released his hold on Shigaraki's wrist. Heroes will catch you. You won't be able to escape in time. If I have to die for that to happen, then so be it. Oh. That may be true, but how many people in this mall do you think I can kill before they arrive? 5? 10? 20? Maybe more. Perhaps even your little girlfriend in the store over there? She's been annoying me all day. I couldn't get close to you until now. What do you want? See, was that so hard? Be a good player and won't die today. I'm just here to ask a question. Now. Let's talk. This is so stupid. Jiro didn't hate clothes shopping. She just highly despised it. Usually she just saw something she liked online and just ordered it. But once Achako finally submitted to Kayaka's promise to pay for everything, rockstar parents make good money, and Jiro saved up plenty. Achako wanted to get some new clothes. Kayaka was perfectly fine with that. Especially since Achako immediately went to the cheapest clothing store in the entire mall. However, that all changed when Achako decided that she wanted to see Kayaka try on some stuff. Oh come on Kayaka. I'm sure it looks great. Come on out and let me see. Over the week since the start of the study group, Kayaka and Achako had made the promise to one another to be each other's rock. Both decided that they needed the other to distract themselves from their hopefully soon-to-be past crushes. Kayaka didn't think that was going to include being in contact 24/7, but that's how it turned out. But that also meant she now couldn't say no to Achako when she wanted something. So, she begrudgingly walked out of the changing room wearing the clothes she picked out and stood in front of Achako. I don't think I look all that good. Achako looked at Kayaka up and down. She was wearing black plateau women's combat boots, with matching black leather pants with a silver diamond-studded belt with a matching bracelet, a bright red Harris shirt going off of one shoulder, a choker with a silver bird in it, and while she wasn't wearing it, she was holding a cropped midriff 80s-style white and red leather jacket. The shoulders, front, and the upper half of the arms and back were white, while the rest was red. The colors divided by black accents. Kayaka. You look incredible. Achako couldn't deny it. She was stunning to look at. The black and vibrant red contrasted with her porcelain white skin perfectly. The accessories only added to it all. Yeah thanks, but you don't have to spare my feelings. I'll put these back. What? No. Buy them. When you hear me of all people tell you to buy something, you know I mean it. Kayaka rubbed her arm and shuffled her feet. Are you sure? Yes. Kayaka, why don't you think you look good? I don't know. Would you believe me if I told you that something Mineta said got to me? No. Kayaka sighed. Well, do you remember the locker room incident? When that twerp was naming off all the beautiful things about you guys, I'm literally the only one he didn't mention. I'm not even pretty enough for damn Mineta. God, I hate that I have to say that. I started to look at the other girls and I realized I'm not developed like the rest of you. And I'm a tomboy and rude sometimes. I guess I just realized I'm not. Don't finish that sentence. Kayaka looked back up to Achako to see her standing up now with concern on her face. You might not have assets like Momo. But 1, who else in the world does? And 2, you're absolutely gorgeous. I'm not. Yes you are. I can't even begin to count how many things about you that are gorgeous. But your tomboyishness suits you perfectly. And your rudeness towards others is hilarious. Kayaka smiled. You could still try and list off some of the physical things. Achako smiled back. Mineta is a pervert who can't see that bigger doesn't always equal better. Your face is breathtaking. And your body is curvy, perfectly thin, and has sizes that are beautiful and won't give you back problems. Jiro started to laugh at that last one. Don't listen to that pig. You're Kayaka Jiro. You don't take that kinda crap. Jiro rubbed her arms and slightly looked back up from her feet. Are you sure you're not into women? Because you're pretty good at making them swoon. Achako laughed and opened up her arms. Kayaka rolled her eyes and accepted the hug. Thanks. Anytime. Now pay for these clothes before I do, because I refuse to let you leave without them. Kayako laughed and walked over to her purse and bent down to pick it up. Achako looked down at Kayako as she was bending over. Yeah, she definitely looks good in leather pants. Where did that come from? Now Midoriya, answer me this. I hate everything and everyone. I'm destroying what I hate so much. The USJ, the Nomus, all brushed to the side. The hero killer does the same thing. But everything he does overshadows me. Izuku was confused. Wait, I thought Stain worked for you. The media made it out to be that way, but it's actually not true. We do the same things, but what makes us different? Different? Yes. Why does the media just eat up everything he does, while I'm ignored? Izuku thought about it for a second, but then came up with his answer. It's because he's understandable. What? The hero killer has clear motives. I can understand him because we both admire All Might to high degrees. His methods are terrible, but he's doing what he truly believes is right. He's willing to fight and die for what he believes. I can't understand you because you have no goals but destruction. You have no message to send. About 10 meters away, Momo just walked out of the store and saw Izuku. But something was terribly wrong. Who is that with Izuku? Izuku looks terrified. That hand is around his throat. Wait a minute. Momo could see shaggy grayish-blue hair coming from the black hoodie. She remembered one night that Izuku described to her a villain he knew of the same description. It was Shigaraki. He had the power to disintegrate anything when all 5 fingers were touching something. Momo looked at the hand around Izuku's throat to see all but 1 finger touching his skin. No. She needed something, and she needed it fast. She couldn't use her quirk. Someone would call her out for illegal quirk usage, and that would bring attention to her. Including the attention of Shigaraki. Momo saw a small sandwich place nearby. She might not like it, but she didn't have many options right now. Just hold on one more minute, Izuku. I understand now, kid. He tightened his grip on Izuku's throat in excitement. It's all 'cause of All Might. The reason you and the hero killer annoy me so much. He's the reason everyone doesn't care about villains like me. They all think they can smile because he also has that big stupid grin on his face. They all think he can save them all. Thanks, Midoriya. He could feel Izuku squirming from his grip. Hey now. What did I say about moving? I'm so happy right now, I might not be able to control my quirk. Izuku's heart was going thousands of miles per hour now. He looked around for anything to help him until he saw the most beautiful guardian angel. Momo was around a corner directly to the side of the duo, looking at them. He could see a bread knife in her hand. He made eye contact with her, and the two just stared at one another. Izuku slowly and softly used his pinky on the hand holding Shigaraki's wrist to poke the villain's lifted finger. He softly nodded to show that he trusted her. Momo raised 3 fingers and counted down. 3, 2, 1. Ah. The next thing Izuku knew, Shigaraki was screaming in pain, foreign blood was on Izuku's shirt, a bread knife was embedded into the far wall to the right of Izuku. And Shigaraki's middle finger was barely hanging on to the rest of his hand by a small thread of skin and flesh. Izuku now. Izuku didn't need to be told twice. He boosted up to 10%, twisted around Shigaraki's wrist, and slammed his fist directly into the villain's chest, sending him through the stone fountain and across the floor. Izuku began coughing and hacking to get his breath back. Momo ran up to him and grabbed onto him. Shigaraki. Get him. But when Izuku looked to where Shigaraki had landed, all he saw was the closing of a black swirl into the floor. He escaped. Izuku and Momo sat side by side at the police station. They had each been questioned by the police and luckily made it out with no charges. When they reviewed security camera footage, they declared Izuku's quirk usage to be purely self-defense and Momo's attack to be a civil service as no quirk was used and no heroes were around to help. Izuku. Momo. Both heads turned to see their parents running towards them. Izuku watched his mom run to him with All Might not far behind. Each were dressed nice, so he was assuming that tonight was another date night. He was crushed by his mother's hug and soaked by her tears. All Might put a hand on top of Izuku's head. Are you alright, my boy? Yeah. I'm okay. Oh honey, I don't think my heart can handle these emergency calls anymore. Inko said. Izuku hugged his mom back. I'm really sorry, mom. Izuku looked over to Momo to see she was being given the same treatment by her parents. You should be thanking Momo. She saved my life today. Well again. She's done that multiple times, but she did it again today. Oh, of course. Inko walked over to the Yaoyorozu and started to thank Momo for what she did. It was really nothing, Ms. Midoriya. Izuku would have and has done the same for me. Please, thank my parents for raising me right. Momo said, gesturing to her parents. Momo's mother stepped forward. Greetings. I'm Yukuna Yaoyorozu. And this is my husband Richie Yaoyorozu. We're so glad to officially meet you all. Especially you, Midoriya. My daughter has gone on and on about you. Mother. Izuku blushed and bowed. It's an honor to meet you both. Your daughter is my closest friend and I'm honored to meet you. Wait, I already said that. Sorry. Yukuna chuckled and whispered to Momo, he's so cute. I can't wait for the wedding. Mother, please. Richie looked over to All Might, are you the boy's father? Oh. No. Just a boyfriend of the mother. I'm Toshinori. Yagi. All Might nervously chuckled. Inko turned around to Toshinori with white eyes, boyfriend? Toshinori froze when he realized what he said. Well. I know it's only been a few dates so far, but I would like to be. I mean if you want to. Yes. I'd be happy to attain those titles. Inko said, walking up to Toshinori blushing. The rest of the group decided that these two should probably be left to themselves for now. Yukuna walked over to Midoriya, please take our card. If you ever need anything just call. Izuku took the card and bowed. Thank you so much. Let's go, Momo. I think you need the rest after today. And besides, you have to pack for Island. Izuku heard that and wanted to jump for joy. Momo was going to be at Island too. He couldn't say anything without revealing that he was going with All Might, so he kept quiet. Momo walked over to Izuku, I'll meet you at the car, mother. She turned to Izuku, so. Have it easy for a while, huh? Izuku chuckled, I should have kept my big mouth shut. Momo laughed too and pulled him into another hug, are you sure you're okay? That must have been terrifying. I'll be okay. I mean I have Creati around to save me, don't I? Momo pinched him for that, and the two laughed again. Yukuna walked over to Inko and whispered, they're in love, right? Oh, most definitely. The Yaoyorozu then went to their car and left. Izuku, Inko, and Toshinori all walked to his car and hopped in. Izuku whispered to All Might, I think I could use that Island vacation right about now. Toshinori smiled, well then, pack your bags, young Midoriya. Izuku felt like he was in for an interesting weekend. Morning is here. Morning is here. Morning is here. Izuku tried to slap the alarm clock, but felt nothing but facial features. Izuku peeked open his eye to see All Might in his buff form, crouched down next to his plane seat. Were you pretending to be my alarm clock? Why, yes, I was. I thought you might want to wake up and see a bird's eye view of Island before we land. Izuku perked up at this and looked out his window to see the giant facility of Island in the ocean. Wow. It's even bigger than I thought. Astonishing, isn't it? So many exhibits, labs, and attractions for all kinds of quirks and technology. It's like one big city as well. Full of restaurants and sites. Perfect date spots. I'm not ready yet. Well, when will you be ready? I don't know. All Might turned back to his regular state and sat down. Sorry. I understand confessions are a hard thing to do. You really don't have to keep your promise of doing it by the end of the summer. No. No, I will. Just. Not yet. Toshinori twiddled his thumbs. Well. I might have done a teensy little something to give you a little push. Oh no. What did you do? Izuku asked with dismay. Well. You know how there's going to be a formal party? Yeah. I may have called ahead and requested that music and a dance floor be added in. Izuku put his head in his hands and groaned. Young Midoriya, you should be excited. You get to dance with a lovely young woman. But I can't dance. All you have to do is hold each other and sway. That's what everyone does. Well, I've been meaning to ask anyway. But any tips on how to get taller? Izuku asked. Why do you want to know that? Because if I'm going to dance with Momo, I at least want to not be staring at the nose the whole time. Izuku grumbled. Oh, come now, she's not that much taller than you. A few centimeters won't make a difference. Besides, maybe she finds it cute having a smaller companion. Like I do with your mother. All Might. Haha. I'm just teasing you. Partially. Now get dressed in your hero costume. We're about to land. Izuku lugged his way to the plane bathroom to change into his costume. Toshinori buffed up and groaned, I'm going to have to be stuck like this for hours. At least I get to see Dave after all this time. The duo walked through the airport terminal and out onto the main grounds of Island. Izuku was mesmerized by the sight. Thousands of people everywhere using their quirks freely to make sculptures, fireworks, tons and tons of street performances. Exhibits and tall skyscrapers were scattered across the horizon. Wow. It's incredible, All Might. All Might? Izuku looked over to his mentor to see him take a wide stance, as if he were preparing for something. What are you doing? I'm preparing for the horde of fans. We might get stuck here for a bit. Oh okay, oh my god, is that All Might? Where? All Might. It is him. Toshinori turned to Izuku, it's begun. Prepare your defenses. The swarm will consume you if you're not careful. Izuku turned to see a gigantic mass of people coming straight towards them. Izuku raised his hands in defense. Izuku looked around to see everyone was running right past him and straight to All Might. Toshinori was signing things and taking pictures as fast as he possibly could. Yes. I love all my adoring fans. If you could just make a line, this could be much easier. He started spastically signing more and more posters and pictures, but then suddenly a group of fangirls got close. Can we give our hero a big kiss on the cheek? They all started leaning up to All Might's face until they were lightly but assertively pushed away. No, I'm afraid I cannot allow this. For my heart belongs to another. It does. The entire crowd said in shock. Oh crap. Toshinori thought. Yes. For my heart belongs to. Justice. The crowd just stared at him oddly, plus ultra. Yeah. Oh thank goodness. Well, that took far longer than expected. Toshinori had finally signed his last poster and the fans has dispersed, leaving Izuku and All Might to themselves at the front plaza. Phew. Now that all that is over with, we can finally head over to the main tower. We're going to meet with an old friend of mine, and I'd like for you to come with me, young Midoriya. Tashi could tell by the immediate fanboy-ish face that Izuku made that it was a yes. One of your friends? Of course. Wonderful. But I should tell you that, while he knows about my regular state, he doesn't know about One for All. Or the fact that you are my chosen successor. So let's keep that on the down low. Kappas? Oh yeah, I understand. Wait, when did you start saying Kappas? Your mother is going through an Italian food phase. Do you really have to make constant reference to the fact that you're dating my mom? Yes, I do. Toshinori said, slapping Izuku's back. Now, onward to Boing Boing Boing. All Might and Izuku turned to the main plaza staircase to see a beautiful blonde girl bouncing towards them on an odd-looking red pogo stick. Uncle Might. The girl said, bouncing off of her contraption, to be caught by All Might pulling her into a hug. Melissa. The girl pulled back from the hug, but All Might still held her up. It's been so long. Look at you. You're all grown up. I'm 17 now. I'm way heavier than the last time you picked me up, aren't I? Are you kidding me? Not at all. Toshinori said, lifting her even higher. He finally put her down and turned back to Izuku. Young Midoriya, this is the daughter of my friend we're meeting today. The blonde walked up to Izuku and held out her hand to shake. I'm Melissa Shield. It's a pleasure to meet you. Izuku hurriedly pulled off his glove and shook her hand. I'm Izuku Midoriya. A first-year student at UA. It's a pleasure to meet you too. UA? So that means you must be Uncle Might's student. All Might interjected, yes. Young Midoriya is going to be an amazing hero one day. Well, I'm still in training. Izuku paused as Melissa walked up to Izuku and began to examine his costume. She's so close. Padding and impact-absorbing material. So a power type. Cool costume, a little unorthodox. Izuku was already squirming at the closeness of a pretty girl, but then she decided to give Izuku a heart attack. She took a hold of Izuku's hands and began to rub his scars. It seems it can't protect you fully. It needs some updates. Luckily, All Might saved Izuku from any more embarrassment. Melissa, I believe we should be going to see your father now. Oh. Yes, of course. Come on, let's go. Papa will be so surprised to see you. Izuku released the breath he had been holding. He hated how he still acted like that around pretty girls. He found it ironic that he was so comfortable around the girl he actually liked, yet every other girl still caused him anxiety when they got too close. Well then again, I'm uncomfortable when anybody gets too close. I guess beauty just adds on to the factor. Izuku caught up to All Might and Melissa and headed towards the main laboratories. Hey Papa. Good morning, Sam. David Shield turned around to see his daughter walk into the room. Well, where did you disappear to? Last I checked you were working in your lab, and the next thing I know you vanished without a trace. Well, Papa, you've been working so hard, and you've done so much, not just for me, but for the world. I thought you deserved a gift, so I brought someone I think you'll be really happy to see. Dave. David Shield looked past his daughter to see a giant American color-schemed sight for sore eyes. Tashi, All Might. Toshinori rushed into the room and whirled David around. Once David was put back on the ground, he fell back out of shock. What are you doing here? Melissa invited me here to surprise you. From behind All Might, Melissa chimed in. Are you happy, Papa? David seemed to falter for a second, but then smiled. Of course I am. It's been so long since I last saw you. Both men stood up straight. Let's see, how many years has it been? Oh, please don't tell me. I feel old enough as it is. Haha. The two laughed together as if they had only seen each other just yesterday. It really is good to see you again, Dave. You too, All Might. Oh. I almost forgot. All Might turned around to Izuku. This is one of my best students, Izuku Midoriya. I decided to bring him along for the trip since he's a big hero fanboy. Young Midoriya, this is your David Shield. The top scientist and researcher for quarks and quark technology. You were All Might's partner when he debuted in America. Dave's sweat dropped and shook the boy's hand. Yep, a fanboy indeed. It's a pleasure to meet you. How do you like the island? It's amazing. But I haven't seen all that much of it yet. What, really? Well then I'm sure Melissa would be happy to show you around. Besides, it would give these two old geezers a chance to catch up. David said, referring to himself and All Might. Melissa approached Izuku. Yeah, I'd love to. Come on, let's go. Izuku followed Melissa out the door. David turned to his assistant Sam. Sam? I think you should take a break too. Of course, sir. I'll see you later. Once the door was closed behind Sam, All Might popped into a puff of steam and emerged from the cloud as his normal self, coughing profusely. Tashi. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm okay. It is a little weird though to hear that nickname said by someone else now. What do you mean? Who else calls you that? All Might rubbed the back of his head. Well. You see. Wait. Tashi, you sly dog. You actually landed someone, didn't you? Maybe. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. And please comment down below what you guys want to see next. I'll see you in the next video.